Well, look at this. The Lowrider, 50th anniversary. If it's NAMM25, this must be the legendary LEE Oskar, the man behind the harmonica. We love it.
Thank you.
It's our annual tradition. I love talking to you. You have so many stories. And Lee, of course, before we get into some of the amazing new products like the Lowrider harmonica coming and the Mick Jagger harmonica, talk a little bit about those early days, like the late 60s, or when, you know, war got together and, you know, there was, you know, Eric Burden, there was, you know, all these bands in the early 70s, the Doors, and, you know, all this California sound.
Yeah, man.
What was that like, you know? I know between San Francisco and LA, there was a lot of music going on.
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, I had no credibility to anybody. I was the kid who wanted to make it in the music business. That's why I even came to America. So.
At what age did you start playing music?
Oh, I don't know when I started playing music. I can tell you when I first got my harmonica.
Okay.
I was 6 years old.
It changed your life.
Oh, it became
the juice heart. You know, it was like.
Well, I mean, the harmonica at 6 years old, it was like the whole neighborhood at that time in Copenhagen. People were getting harmonica. It was like the in thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I tell people, next year was the yo-yo, and next year was the hula hoop. But,
okay.
But when an American came to visit my family and I, that's when he knew that was the in thing, and happy to know that I got a harmonica, and it never, you know, I mean, it's like anything, you know, some people. You know, hang on to something, and others, it's just a trend, it's whatever.
It's a toy to some, and to some, it's a window to the universe.
You know, for me, it was definitely, it's my license to get through the gates, you know.
Wow.
It's my key to, I mean, it's been with me with passion, and so has painting and of drawing.
Yeah.
And so has.
We love your art. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you, man.
But it goes hand in hand. Art and music. It's like
it's all the
left arm and the right arm.
To me, it all comes through. It comes through me. It all comes from the same place.
It's the same heart.
Yeah. It's well, if it's passion and you're being creative with the arts, then you really can't reflect on anything other than what you already have around you, right?
Yeah.
And it's just how you express something.
And what year did you come to America?
In 1966 in Cape United.
Wow. So the Beatles had exploded.
Oh, it was like, you know, I mean, for me, the United States of America was bigger than life. You know, it was like, it was the only place.
The promised land.
The promised land, but the only place I can imagine making the music business.
Yeah. Yeah, like they say, if you make it here, you made it everywhere, you know, because everybody looks to America for the sound. I mean, I talk to these British legends from the 60s, and we think the British invasion invented so much, and in a way they did, but all their heroes were American blues.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the industry has changed a lot since then. I mean, back then, the industry was basically the United States and the UK. You know, and
a motherland.
And you would see a lot of people, no matter where they were from around the world, they wouldn't even be playing their own traditional music. They would be like, and don't even speak English, a lot of them, but they would be singing all the hits.
They learned English. They learned singing American.
Well, but they learned to do the hits. I mean, they got a gig by doing the hits.
Right.
You know,
you might not know what the words mean, but they sing them.
Yeah. But the world has changed a lot. I mean, now every country has its own music industry, and it's less imports and American products coming in. It's more their own domestic artists.
Yeah.
So the dynamics, it's getting very homogenized, let's put it that way. The music industry has gone a long ways and become very homogenized,
They said at the NAMM breakfast that there's 123 countries represented at NAMM.
Wow.
It's hard to think of 40 or 50 countries, more or less.
That's true.
But it's really Asia and Europe and South America and, you know, so many lands, Australia and Canada. When you first came to America, what were some of those early experiences where you realized, like, wow, I'm here, and this is endless creativity?
Well, I don't think I was that sophisticated to think in those wise terms. I think it was the sensationalism of the music industry has always been magnified, you know. If you take the sensationalism out of the music business, and it's just music, it would be a much smaller industry.
Of course.
You know, I mean, most people
have to embellish and enhance, you know, what you do. You're selling a dream in a way, a fantasy.
Well, yeah, and
it's
you know,
escapism.
well, yeah, but so it becomes less about the music and more about the image and the sensationalism. To me, I don't like to lean that way. I don't favor that. As I teach people, you know, that are younger, that get into it. Like when I was young, I was so stoked about things in not necessarily the healthiest way, because the hype. The thing is, I want to say is that hype is a big thing, but the drawback in hype, the bad thing about hype is if you stop buying your own hype.
Right.
I don't buy the hype. I use the hype. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone says you're the greatest entrepreneur in the world. Well, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I believe that. I'm going to say thank you. But if it's something that they want, you know, that's said, I mean, I'll use the hype. But honestly, there's no such thing as the best entrepreneur in the world.
You can't rest on your laurels. You still got to go and practice and improve.
Well,
you
don't want to buy the hype. You want to use the hype. That's bottom line.
You appreciate the accolades, but there's work to be done.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, I'd be like walking around thinking I'm the greatest, and that's the dumbest thing.
I always say the day you stop learning and growing, you might as well get out of the way, because there's somebody behind you more hungry for the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, let's get in the playing field about what is my point of doing what I do. Honestly, it's not a hobby. It's my life, my lifestyle. You probably have to I'd probably be insane or lock me up if I wasn't able to do what I love doing. And if I went to the grave, and I might have said this to you before when I did the Never Forget album, when we spoke before, I realized that the responsibility, like the fiduciary responsibility of an artist in a pure sense, is to be open enough to allow to express anything and anything that comes through you, not to be afraid. And if I went to the grave and were afraid to express certain things, I would have been ashamed calling myself an artist. So that's the true sense. My reality is I live for that passion of expressing, and so I'm grateful, because there's no guarantees, and it doesn't matter how good you are. I'm grateful that I have been acknowledged to some extent, and here you are even talking to me. Those things I honor and respect, because it's not take for granted that just because you're in it and you might be really good, that you're going to get through the gate. It's like a lottery ticket. It's like, you know, whether I get through the gate, whether I succeed or not, or whatever level you consider succeed, I will always be 100% into that I'm doing. So I'm grateful for acknowledgement, because acknowledgement is really the direct reward of achieving what you do. Not the money, not the business, but the heart and soul of people acknowledging. I have said this many times too. I think if I was on a desert island where there's no other human beings, I probably wouldn't be playing music or painting or doing anything, because there's nobody, you know, a bird or a frog is not going to relate to that. I would find some way to interact with that frog, or to find a way to express
common language.
To express, because that is the fundamental art as an artist. You know.
That's amazing. And of course the 60s were full of free spirit, you know, free love, and the love-ins, you know. And
So we find out there's no such thing as free.
there's nothing free. There's no free lunch, right?
There's no
a
free
string
anything.
attached to something.
Yeah, there's a
Somebody's
two-way.
got to pay for it.
Yeah, and it's not, and pay doesn't necessarily mean money, but nothing is free.
Yeah. Well, you got to earn it, you know, and certainly you have. And those early days of war, of course, Eric Burden comes in and spilled the wine, and now everybody's talking about, you know, the guy that did House of the Rising Sun.
Right.
And here's this spirit that was, you know, all these little clubs, you know, were popping. You know, you could go out and for a couple bucks, or sometimes the clubs were free. They just made their money on alcohol. You know, there was just that spirit. I talk about those early days of the band, and you know, linking one step to the other, and this door opens to another door. Obviously, Eric Burden was there for you know, a certain time, but the band went on, and you continued to explore your instrument and collaboration in different styles of music.
Well, thank you for that introduction. No, you know, I find that, as I said before, the sensationalism is a big part of the industry, and again, the hype of that is a tool to support what you do if you use the hype right, because without acknowledgement, like I said, if I'm in an island, I never said, without acknowledgement of other humans, then I don't feel that I would feel accomplishing my arts. In other words, acknowledgement is so important. I mean, I express something, and that somebody hears it, and there's a feedback, whether it's an audience, whether it's a gallery looking at a painting, whatever it is. That's the interaction, social engineering, if you will. You know, it's really part of the arts.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I moved to LA in '80, but I was living in the Seattle, Vancouver before that. I graduated high school in '76 in Panama, Central America, and I saw the Beatles in a solo when I was 5. I moved to England in '64. 64, 65, 66. Oh my gosh. I'd watch Top of the Pops on TV every Thursday, and just infatuated. My little transistor radio, I would hear the Beatles, Penny Lane, and you know, Magical Mystery Tour, and all that. I was just infatuated. You know, it changed my life, and I knew that my calling, while I started playing music, was really promoting artists, because I felt that some of the most talented people might be stuck in their bedrooms or their garage or their basements, never to be heard. And you can't really tell your own story. You can't say, I'm the best, I'm the best. People they turn away. You need a mouthpiece. You need someone to promote you.
I don't think it translates well if you want to toot your own horn, right?
Yeah. You can only do it so long.
Unless it's just to perform music, but
yeah,
the horn.
I like to do the intro, but somebody else has to speak for you.
Yeah, I think that's just human nature. I think it's the same thing if I need to call the telephone company to set up a phone for my new office.
Yeah.
And if I call up myself and say, hi, I am the owner of my business, and I wanted to have a phone, say, oh, well, that'll be about a month from now. But if a secretary or somebody calls up and says, I work for Mr. So-and-so and the company, and we would like to have it set up. Sometimes they're more impressed that there's a team, and there's somebody that is, you know.
There's more than one person.
Yeah, you know, or it's about something, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know.
Well, talk about some of those early festivals, because we heard in those early days, you know, with Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and the Doors, and there was Monterey Pop and all these different festivals. Do you remember some of those early memories? What were some of the festivals you guys did?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that comes to my mind. One of them, I think, that was like kind of a highlight to me, was when Woodstock was happening.
Yeah.
Which was, nobody thought it was going to be anything big deal.
It was just another show.
We didn't. Yeah, I mean,
it was in a cow field somewhere.
Because of Eric Burden. I mean,
right.
we went to Europe, and actually, one of the concerts, I forget where in Germany it was, outdoor concert. It was Kiss, Bob Marley, and War.
Okay.
And so Bob Marley and us, we were in awe of Bob Marley when he first got in the scene. I mean, that reggae. Then we met him and we found out that he was actually playing our music before he was actually doing his own thing. So he would say, your music is like my music, and we had the two buses and kicking the ball around, soccer, and Kiss was out playing, and that was an amazing time for me. Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix, just to throw a very important name. He was an acquaintance, at the least, with Eric Burden because Mike Jeffries was the same manager, and both felt ripped off and all that. So they had this common thing. Chaz Chandler was the bass player who was ripped off, and then he turns around and goes back to Mike Jeffries with Hendrix. But the bottom line is that it's very sad, if I may step up for a minute here with Jimi Hendrix and I was a fly on the wall. It was very nice. Eric, wherever he was, who was the center of the attention. Eric was as big as the Mick Jagger and all that, but I was a fly on the wall because he allowed me to be wherever he was, but there was no attention to me, thank God. So I would observe and see things from my point of view. I saw Hendrix being very frustrated. And he was not an aggressive guy. He was a very shy kind of,
soft-spoken.
Very much. But he was upset. He wanted, especially the African American, he wanted to be more connected to his so-called his own roots. I think Miles Davis and people like that, he would want to interact with in playing music. He didn't want to burn a guitar every night. It might sound very harsh to say, but it was almost suicide. I think it was suicide or something. Or not. When you put on a pedestal bigger than life, and all that hype and the expectations on him, and who does he have to bounce off? As today, there's social media, so there's a lot of things you could use daily to promote to your fans what you're into. So fans are kind of lured to daily